You're welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Nigerians are having to adjust to a new tax regime, which came into being on the first day of 2026 and is said to be administered by the newly rechristened and revitalized Nigerian Revenue Service. The introduction of the new order comes under a cloud and an increasing scrutiny about the legislative process that birthed it. How certain functionaries of the Tinubu government allegedly tampered with the final document from Parliament before presidential assent was given, and a groundswell of public disapproval in the aftermath. Critically, President Bola Tinubu dismissed all public misgivings about the Nigerian Tax Administration Act 2025 and signed off on it. We will now proceed to have a conversation around the takeoff of the new tax law, what Nigerians should expect from it. 2026 as a year that holds so much for Nigeria's aspiration to nationhood and the call for greater political consciousness among Nigerians by Dr. Chris Nwaokobia, who is a lawyer, public affairs analyst, and the convener, Country First Movement. Good morning, Chris. Good to have you join us on the morning show, and Happy New Year to you.
Same to you, Steve. It's my pleasure to be here. Good morning.
Fantastic. I like the trimmer, leaner, more handsome you. It's a New Year gift, isn't it?
I have to be alive, Steve. I have to be alive, Steve. It wasn't a joke. 2025 was something else. I had to travel overseas on a wheelchair.
Wow.
And came back after 4 months and 2 weeks.
Wow.
Leaner, trimmer, and stronger. But I think that's one of the challenges we have to put on leadership here. We have to fix the healthcare sector.
Absolutely. We spoke about, something like that while discussing the Anthony Joshua thing. But let's talk about Nigeria. This is, something that is of interest to you. Particularly the fact that everybody has been saying, from the 1st of January 2026, the new tax law, the new tax regime, blah, blah, blah. Well, in 2026, this is the 3rd of January. You did write a series, the second installment, I believe, immediately after the New Year, which you called of fallacies, forgery, and fakery, talking about the new tax laws and why you think that it shouldn't be the ideal gift that the president, should bequeath to Nigerians. Why are you opposed to the new tax law?
Steve, I think that the tragedy of our nation is the fact that most times we do not research information. Oftentimes, the tragedy of our state is the fact that our people throw information in the air and refuse to crystallize, refuse to research, refuse to interrogate them. And what we see in the media and in the public space, critique without substance. Now, let's do the right thing. And people have called me and said, fallacies, forgery, and fakery. And I asked them, how much do you know of this forgery, the fallacies, and this fakery? And almost unfortunately, Steve, even in the media, people do not seem to understand the enormity of the challenge that we have on our hands. We have a new tax law, the 2025 Tax Appropriation Act.
Yeah.
And you ask yourself, what are these challenges? What is the forgery? Steve, I'm going to use strong words, but politely. Now, you have 8 major alterations. Most Nigerians do not know. 8 major alterations. That goes to the life, the intent, the content, and the substance of that act. One talks about the thresholds. The National Assembly raised the thresholds and said, okay, for instance, people who earn so and so should be taxed. People who earn so and so should not be taxed. Those who went, like your intro, who went behind the scene to doctor, forge, fake, and alter that law, reduced the thresholds. That's substantial forgery. You talk about, Nigerians should listen, this is very important. You talk about issues as to who is exempted, who is not. And then the oil sector which is the major, they're the ones who profiteer from the Nigerian state. Okay. The alteration removes some of the petroleum sector and their taxes. And then you look at another fundamental issue which is very important as we talk today, because I think it should be more about our nation than about politics. I'm not here to talk politics basically. I'm here to appeal to the conscience of our citizenry, appeal to the conscience of our president, appeal to the conscience of the minders of our presidency, and appeal to the conscience of our clergy. And I'll tell you why. Steve, they also went into that act, one of the 8 alterations, and said, the taxman can come to your house to arrest you without a court order. Are you not scared? Are you not worried? They can come without a court order. That means that this taxman is going to have much more power than almost the IG of police. He can come to anybody he suspects of infraction and says, okay, you're arrested. Come and explain yourself. That means that even the new tax law can also serve for a weapon of politics and politics.
That's the fear, right? Is that the fear?
Oh, it's major. It means that, and that's why I'm concerned, and that's why I talked about the clergy. If you're a clergy, a GO, a general overseer, or whatever you are, and you're not concerned and you're not speaking out, you're rogue. If you're a political operator and you're more concerned about 2027 than about what obtains now, you're rogue. If you're the minder of the president and you're involved in presidency and you're not concerned about this forgery, you're rogue. If you're in the National Assembly and you're not speaking up and speaking out, you're rogue. If you're a governor and you're not speaking up and speaking out, you're rogue. And I tell you why. Steve, this new tax law and the alterations that the National Assembly is quiet about and they're not saying to Mr. President, you cannot enforce, allows for authoritarianism, despotism.
They're not quiet about it, though.
No, because if they are not quiet about it, Steve, if they're not quiet about it,
when they are done.
Steve, let's be frank. If they're not quiet about it, they would say to Mr. President, suspend until we harmonize. Steve, the truth is that they're playing politics with everything. And this is fundamentally important. How does this affect the masses of our people and our politics? We live in a country where we're no longer talking about fake prophets, forged priests. We're not talking about fake and forged documents. We're talking about the law. The law. Yeah. If a law that should govern our economy and our finances is forged, and we think it's all right to go ahead with it, then we're in trouble as a people. We're not only in trouble as a people, then we have some question with our conscience, emotions, and ideals as a people. And Steve, in the good year, a New Year goodwill messages across the clergy, across every sector, I saw governors speaking to a new year that they want to be profound, profuse, and awesome. I heard clergy talking about a new year that they want to be great and awesome. And I asked myself, on what are you predicating it? On a new year that the federal government has told you, we have a new tax law, and the threshold is lower than the National Assembly allowed. That means that tomorrow the taxman could call my dear sister and say, oh, you got to pay this, and if you don't pay this, you're arrested tomorrow. That means that the taxman can call you, Steve, and say, oh, we heard this is how much you're paid, and you fall into this delineation. They can do that without regards to anybody. And then one of the worrisome part of it, for me, Steve, is the fact that one of the alterations says that they don't need to go back quarterly to the National Assembly. That means that we have despotism, authoritarianism, dictatorship, and impunity on our space. Steve, it's worrisome. It should bother you. Yeah, it should bother the governors. It should bother the clergy. It should bother the National Assembly. We're in trouble.
Will the alterations stand? Do you think they will stand? The National
Assembly.
The
law is in place already.
No, but it will be regazetted, won't it?
How do you regazette without reviewing?
Is that not a basis to talk? If you know what
Steve,
I'm talking about,
can we communicate here?
To
do you have to regazette before reviewing?
But it's a basis to go to the court, isn't it? To say that the law that you are implementing, for which you want to arrest Chris
went to court in
Nwaokobia,
2023. What came out of it? Go to court is now the praxis for just waste some time. And I think that what is important in 2026 is for the masses of our people to rise up to interrogate fundamental issues. Eternal vigilance is a price for freedom and liberty. I am not here to disparage anyone. I'm here to say to our countrymen, to those who are in the APC, the ADC, and across political tendencies, to understand that statesmen think about the citizenry, statesmen think about the nation, politicians think about the next election, and the time to begin to think about our nation is now. To President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his minders, the time to think about Nigeria and the nation is now. I am not concerned. Steve, I didn't come here to talk about 2027, and I beg you, oblige me that position.
Absolutely.
Some people will say to me, Professor, you were part of the Labour Party, you were part of Peter Ob's campaign in 2023, he's now in ADC, what do you think? That's not what I'm concerned about now. I'm concerned about my people, the masses of our country. Steve, I'm concerned about the thousands of Nigerians who do not understand what I went through the whole of last year and who think that I have enough money to send monies to accounts for Christmas and New Year. Who think that you have enough 10,000, 20,000 to give when the economy is in doldrums. Who think that you must somehow have monies to dish. I think that we're all caught in the same situation as a people, and we must rise to the truth and the urgency of now and challenge leadership to responsible and responsive action, challenge leadership to do less of mendacious and perfidious statistics, challenge leadership to do more of realistic appraisal of the nation and what affects our people. And let me tickle your mind a bit, Steve. Over the past years, Nigerians stayed long hours on the roads, traveling to their villages. This last Yuletide, Nigerians spent nights on the roads. And then this government tells you that the roads are better. Use your tongue to count your teeth. Yeah. So I think that the challenge of the present hour and the present day is to call government to be truthful and forthright to the people.
Now, you have spoken very well, and I like the fact that you alluded to the fact that we've gotten a lot of messages from clergy, from governors. We've heard different things like 2026 is the year of shared unity, shared prosperity, the year of destiny. But I want to ask you, do you see 2026 as the year of consolidation or correction for the Tinubu administration? And what benchmarks should Nigerians use to measure success? I'm talking about all the structural reforms that have been initiated. What benchmarks should we use to measure the success?
God bless you, my dear sister. Let me tell you why I'm getting a bit very emotional this morning. If anybody's saying that 2026 is going to be a year of consolidation, I ask God to forgive the person. It's got to be a year of corrections. Nothing but corrections. This government must start with correcting the first anomaly, the forged tax law. And then this government must wake up to the urgency of now. This government must understand that 1,000 spokespersons, 1,000 gaslighting, 1,000 perfidy and mendacity will not change the reality. Steve, I know what you went through. I'm not speaking like a clairvoyant. You may not say it here, but your December people troubled you. Not because you're a billionaire, but because they see you on national TV. My dear sister, they were on you. The reality is that across our nation, the poverty mark has deepened. So those who tell you that the economy is bouncing back are not being true to themselves. And we live in a country where, strangely, Steve, people swear with sacred things. in the name of speaking and defending government. Those who are standing on a mandate have refused to be true to that mandate. They have refused to speak truth to power. Have we had a country this bad? No, we haven't. Can we have it better? Yes, we can. So should our president and the minders of our presidency be fair and true? Yes, they can. Will they? I pray they will. You know why I'm saying this, Steve? Because I think that if there's anyone who can truly make Nigeria work, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has that tendency. Mm-hmm. Can he make Nigeria work? I pray he does. Will he? I pray he has the moral and ethical verve and nerve to do so.
You don't think in 2.5 years plus he's been trying to make Nigeria work?
You know, Steve, I'd rather tell Mr. President and the minders of the presidency that they haven't shown that tendency.
At all?
They have done more talk than walk. They've done more propaganda than proactive action. They've done more politics than performance. And I say this advisedly. Steve, go through, ask your friends who went through the Benin bypass. Ask your friends who traveled from Abuja to the east through Kogi. I hear so much from Dave Umahi. You remember that poetry? You know, you're a writer. You remember it was Shakespeare, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. All we've heard in 2.5 years from Dave Umahi and his men, sound and fury, nothing. Nigerians had to sleep on the roads. Oh, come on, Steve. I pray that our leaders will understand the urgency of now. I pray that they will understand that it is not rocket science to get certain things done. I pray that they will understand that the challenge of leadership is deeper and nobler than politics and politics. And I pray that as we go into 2026, Nigerians will understand that if this country works, we're all better. It's not just about the ADC or the APC being better.
Yeah.
It's about all of us. I don't want a country in 2026 where my text messages and WhatsApp will be full of people asking for 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. I want a nation where we're sharing messages of performance. And this country is arguably God's greatest country in the third world. Arguably God's greatest country in Africa. We are blessed by God with amazing resources and riches ineffable. And so why aren't we performing?
All right, Chris, let me go back to the issue of the tax law. And I understand, I appreciate the enormity of the, what it conveys, that there are 8 major alterations.
8?
8, yeah. Major, alterations, maybe I shouldn't say.
Alterations, forgeries.
Alterations.
Forgeries, Steve.
The president says that they're not substantial as to warrant him delay.
That when this taxman doesn't like me, he can arrest me without a warrant.
Okay, so but I don't want to accept that they will not be addressed by the National Assembly. Because they are in charge of the law. I don't want to accept. So I'm saying that outside of those 8 alterations, what is your overall assessment of the progressive, the intendment of the laws themselves? That of course excuse those who earn less than 1 million naira from paying PE. Businesses that you have to generate up to 25 million, but now you have to go beyond 100 million before you can begin to pay corporate tax. There's the intendment of the progressive nature of the law. Outside, of course, of those 8 alterations that will have to be dealt with, what are your sincere thoughts regarding the tax
Steve,
policy?
I'm very unwilling to treat a man on the wheelchair as a man who can do a 100 meters dash. I'm speaking deeply. You know why? Because when I traveled on the 12th of August, I traveled on a wheelchair. I came back to this country on the 1st of December walking on foot. and I know the difference. I'm unwilling to ascribe to a legislation that has been largely doctored, 8 alterations, some credibility. And I'm speaking deeply. Like I said, Steve, it is rogue for the clergy to be quiet. It is rogue for the National Assembly to be quiet. It is rogue for our governors to be quiet. And it is rogue for our political stakeholders to be quiet about it. No matter how wonderful it is, if you decide to call a female male, I have challenges. Now, when that law is cleaned up, when the alterations are fixed, when the National Assembly looks at it again and the corrections made, and it is regazetted, I can look at the merits. I will not ascribe credibility to a situation that is messed up. I will not. You know, my late dad taught me something, and may God bless his soul. He said to me, don't be caught in debates that undermines the faultiness, the messiness, and the mockiness of the foundation. We have a National Tax Appropriation Act that is forged. I will not address it until it is cleaned up and made right.
Fair enough.
Well, I mean, yeah, fair enough. But in the meantime, you know, some critics are saying that Nigerians are being taxed more without commensurate public services. So how can the Act, or how does the Act address accountability and transparency in tax utilization?
Now you're ambushing me. We're back to the same situation.
We want to get you to talk about it.
Yes. Let me say here clearly that no matter the merits of that act, because I've heard tax experts talk about the fact that you have provisions in the old tax law that even talks about coins and cowries. You have the need for an amendment of our tax regime. Well, I agree. It's settled. But do you need a new tax law that creates an authoritarian National Revenue Service? Do you need a tax regime that gives a taxman the right to come knock at your door without reaching out to you and reaching out to the courts? Do you need a tax regime that gives to the taxman the right to make a threshold without compliance with the provisions of the law as made by the National Assembly? Do you need a tax man and a tax agency that does not report to the National Assembly, which takes away from the provisions of the Constitution? The Constitution says that the National Assembly, the legislature, should oversight the executives.
Absolutely.
So should we have, you know, that's why, again, I'm unwilling. And if I stand alone on this, posterity will vindicate me. I'm unwilling to address the merits of a forged national tax law. I'm unwilling to address the fundamentals of how it affects our economy. And I want to say, Steve, my dear sister, that no nation taxes itself out of poverty. You don't tax the poor. And now let me give you a very fundamental and important practice to chew on and for Nigerians to look at. Steve, are you aware that in Nigeria we produce and provide just about everything for ourselves? Why are you talking about taxation? I provide my electricity. I get less than 10 hours of light in Abuja. I get less than 10 hours of light in Lagos. This is the truth. I don't care about what the mandate, those standing on the mandate say, but that's the truth. Now, so I use generator, different kinds of generators. Now, in Abuja, I have 2 in the house. In Lagos, I have 1. Now, count the costs. I still pay tax. I still will pay tax. Now, I want you to look at these fundamentals. Steve, that's what Nigerians go through. And then we almost produce and provide our security. Steve, you're scared of the man who knocks at your gate, so you have a Megad. If you don't have a Megad, your neighborhood has a security agency, and we all pay for it. we still have to pay tax. Steve, your children are in schools. We pay school fees for private schools that otherwise our children, if our system were working, should be in public schools. I'll give you a practical instance. Whilst I was away treating myself, one of the mornings, my younger brother walked up to me, who's an American citizen, and said to me, your daughter, that's my niece, is not feeling very strong, but she must go to school. And I asked why. Keep her at home. He said, no. If I keep her at home up to 10 times in a term, I'll be in trouble. Government is interested in how many times my daughter comes to school. And these are public schools where government fends for the kids. Now take this challenge. Every time we're talking about taxation, we're talking about comparative analysis between systems that work, where government is interested in whether your child comes to school or not. Here, you're telling me I should pay tax. Government doesn't know whether my child is in school or not.
Right.
Steve, we're in a terrible situation. And until things are done rightly and correctly, until we challenge leadership to do what is proper, right, and right, we're all in trouble. I am not here to oblige leadership and those who sing songs. I'm here to say to our country, the time to be true to power, to speak the truth to power is now. The time to ask our clergymen who, Steve, I was shocked, and permit me.
You've mentioned them like
oh yeah, because I saw one on New Year Day. The Anglican bishop or something.
I mean, what did he say?
Nwaokobia or whatever.
Yeah.
Reading a script and telling us that 2026 is going to be a great year. And I said, on what is it predicating this practice? Has government infiltrated the churches and the clergy? You know, Steve, I think that the time has come for us to be true to what we say on paper and say to our nation, we must do right. Every child on the street deserves good life. And before we tax our nation, before we impose a forged tax document, we must show a commitment to our collective well-being.
Fantastic, Chris. I mean, it's always good to have you on the show because you shoot straight. But it's a new year, and a lot of people are saying that let's at least be positive about our country. For once, let's hope that 2026 will be different. The president promised that by April, the anomaly of multiple budgets will stop. He owned up. He took responsibility. Should we trust him that he will clean up this tax law? I don't know. I mean, we don't know where,
I would love to trust.
Okay.
I would love to
just
trust.
One word before we let you
I would
go.
love to trust Mr. President, but I need facts and figures. I would love to trust our economy. I need facts and figures, not sexed-up documents and sexed-up dictats. And let me say clearly that I am a lover of our dear president and our presidency. I'm a lover of Nigeria. But you know what? I want a country that works for the benefit of the masses of our people. So I will be true to power. And I'll say to Mr. President, those who advise you are not telling you the truth. Nigerians are hungrier, angrier, and more despondent than ever. And Nigerians do not trust your government because you say one thing today and you do another thing tomorrow. And Nigerians do not trust the new tax law because it's sexed up and doctored. And the way to a future that works for our collective good is to be forthright, true, and strong. And let me close because I know we're short of time.
Yes.
It was Sir Walter Scott. And everybody who knows me knows that I'm obsessed about that quote. It was Sir Walter Scott who said, oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. I want to say to those who speak for our president to lie less in 2026. Tell more truth, because Nigerians have the data on their hands. With ChatGPT, with AI, with the information network across the world, nobody swallows your lies and your falsehood. Nigerians want a country that works. I truly want a nation that works for all. And I know that Bola Ahmed Tinubu can make it work if he sits up and talks to the right people. And I know, Steve, that our country can be great in 2026 if we're true and forthright. And so the challenge is now for all of us, the media, the civil society, and the political class to challenge our leadership to do right and do what is right and what is proper. Madiba, Nelson Mandela would say that it is always right, no matter how late in the day, to do right. The time to do right is now. Happy New Year, Nigerians.
Absolutely Happy New Year, Nigerians. Professor Chris Nwaokobia, we want to thank you for joining us. Convener Country First is all about the country first and Nigeria first. Thanks
God bless Nigeria.
for joining us, and may Nigeria succeed.